What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the latest updates, data points, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is up a very impressive 17.5%, 228 the low, 265 the high, and 35.8 million shares being traded. So a lot of volume is getting in. Unfortunately, a lot of that is linked to algorithmic trading, and you can kind of see that right over here. So from the flow, just a lot of this is AI driven. So not necessarily the best, but despite that though, you are actually still seeing a good amount of institutions buying into Rezolve. So these are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market. Everything with a ask is a buy. So a fair amount of buying is occurring, largely because of what came out associated to Rezolve, which I'll go over in a second. On a larger scope, macro scope, we did have a couple of key data points. So existing home sales came in at 4.1 million, forecast of 3.9, and then Michigan consumer sentiment came in at 52.9. So all in all, pretty good stuff. Even though this was positive, it kind of diminished the likelihood of a January cut a little bit. Market doesn't seem to care all that much. So right now there is a 19.9% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. So in general, market is fairly hyped up, but Rezolve did put out some very solid news. Well, it's more of an update, not really, I guess, news, but early this morning, they did put this out right over here. So Rezolve AI to host Analyst and investor call on January 13th, 2026 to provide updated 2025 and 2026 revenue guidance. Because for those of you that remember, a couple days back, so on December the 16th, they did say that their current revenue for 2025 is in excess of 200 million. Previously, they did guide 150 million. So don't kind of confuse this. This isn't a earnings call. This is just a general update. So most likely they won't be giving actual specifics. Rather, it'll just be general ranges, but them updating their guidance midpoint prior to their earnings. Like, you don't see many companies doing that. And so clearly Dan does see Rezolve being at a pretty substantial discount and a good price point. So this is exactly why they are doing that. And at the very bottom kind of shows that, again, Dan seeing that the price is at a pretty good discount. But aside from that though, they actually do state right here, so far for 2026, they've contracted 209 million of revenue, and they kind of bring up how about analysts are assuming 171 million. So this call is probably also to incentivize analysts to give read ratings on Rezolve, really pushing it higher. Because right now, even though his says 171 million, if we kind of pop over here, analysts only do believe for 2026 126.33 million. That's kind of the average. High end of 182, low end of 97. So most likely post this call, you will be seeing a lot new ratings being posted. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. So yeah, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Most likely 2026 will probably be more around that 600 mil at this stage. Previously they did guide for 2026 as 500. So definitely, I think big things might be coming. Analysts hopefully will really like this call as well. And so far institutions like it, like I kind of showed you right here. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from all that, looking at shorts. So shorts are increasing about 144,000 shares. 14.4% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 17.1 million shares overall are being shorted. So I did a video late last night where I went over Rezolve and why I feel, just given the circumstances, even though it is mind-blowingly volatile, I don't personally believe that there is a lot of manipulation that's happening. Some people commented saying that it's linked to the dark pool. These are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. So in general, it is a very active kind of exchange, but I think it is extremely difficult to prove that there is naked shorting, as what some individuals on social media are trying to portray. But in general, like, again, if you want to try and make Rezolve a AMC type of mentality, I feel like a lot of investors and institutions are just going to back out and say, no, this isn't for me, because AMC was more of a cult-like mentality, and we all know how that really fared for them. Like everyone who invested and diamond handed and all that crap, they lost everything. So I think if Rezolve does go down that route, it actually will de-incentivize institutions and a lot of retail to get in, because I myself, any cult like stock, I don't really want anything to do with. I really won't want to buy. I like value and I like more innovative stocks, and Rezolve kind of falls under that category. But again, if they start going down the whole let's mother of all short squeeze and naked shorting and all that stuff, and I don't really see many people really getting behind that, in my opinion. Hopefully I'm wrong, but nonetheless, looking at the options, we had 604,000 in calls, 94,000 in puts. 71% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature, and it looks like the consensus is that it's going to be above $3 for the most part in the foreseeable future. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 250 in the foreseeable future. So definitely there is a lot more upside than down. With it right now at 259, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So bounce off of this general area of that 231. So we know that's a good support level. And then 271 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. That wasn't really touched today, but most likely that'll be the target for next week, hopefully early on next week. Aside from that though, on the actual chart, even though today is looking pretty solid, it is still below that 10-day moving average. So it really needs to get above that early on, like I said, whether that be closing above that today or next week. But $2.60 is that 10-day moving average. This is some absolute crazy volatile times. So almost, what is it? Let's see, the turnover about 92.4 million just today alone. And so yeah, crazy swings. Crazy swings. One thing as well, just look at this, the turnover. This is a percentage of the overall float that is being traded. So December the 16th, there was 44%, 35%, 29%, and then today is 21%. So a lot of craziness. So a lot of trading. So let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of general 2 cents on everything that has been happening with Rezolve? Like, for instance, have you been taking advantage and kind of buying, or what have you generally been doing? One final thing, just with this upcoming weekend, I did lower my stacked account. So if you are looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over there. I lowered it from $55 down to $20. Currently have 99 members under this tier. So if you are again looking for some solid signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over there. So if you get in at the $20 range, you will never increase. So kind of lock that in. I'm only going to probably limit it to about 120 members max. So definitely sign up while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.